everyone, thank you so much for clicking yet another video, and welcome if you're new. My name is Teddy G, and this channel is all about me taking you guys along for the journey with me as I build this clothing brand. So guys, before I even start this video, I need to put out a really important disclaimer out there. You absolutely in no way, shape or form need this much money to start your clothing brand. I'm just going to put that out there. I've been doing this for quite a while, which is why I have accumulated this much money to be able to spend it, and also to even feel a little bit like comfortable spending that kind of money, because it is quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie, it is a lot. So I really needed to put that out there. You absolutely do not need this much money to start. You can start with a lot less. I started with a lot less, so I just wanted to make that abundantly clear. So yes, as you can see from the title, I'm going to be sharing with you guys, I'm going to be bringing you in like TMI style about how exactly I am going to be allocating my £10,000 budget. So let's get into it. So I have around £10,000 to play with in terms of this collection. So I said to myself, okay, I want to spend around £8,000 for this collection so that I can have a bit of change to use as working capital. The way I'm going to explain this may not actually be the best way of budgeting money, but this is what's working for me and how it's working for me at the moment. So I said to myself, I'm going to budget £8,000 to get my products from the sample stage to my customer. So everything that's involved in that needs to stay within that £8,000 mark. Wow, Teddy, is that how much you're really looking to spend? Because that is a lot. I split this £8,000 into two main allocations, and the first and biggest chunk of it is going to go into the production itself. So out of that £8,000, I've allocated 6,900. Specifically, it's actually 6,677, but you always need to have a wiggle room, and my wiggle room, it's not even that big a wiggle room because it's only like about 100 and something pounds, but that is how much I am allocated to the whole production of my products. And in that production price, the things that are actually included is the amount of money it's going to cost to make the product, so the CMT cost, the cut, make, trim cost, and then the cost of the fabrics and the cost of the trims. So I've budgeted just under £7,000, which is, as a percentage, more than 90% of that 80,000. 80, I wish, of that £8,000. So that leaves me around about £1,100, give or take. That £1,100 is going to be split into actually getting a product here and then getting the product to whoever's shopping it. That needs to cover shipping, so the shipping to get it here. It also needs to cover things like boxes, all the things that are going to go into my packaging, the cartons, tissue paper, thank you cards, the paper that I actually print the invoice and the packing slip on. And also, because I didn't include this in my initial cost of my production, sampling is also included in this price, but I haven't yet had to pay for many samples. The samples that I've had to pay for are the samples of fabrics, and that's about it. So my sample costs, usually, I'm not gonna lie, sample costs are usually a lot of money, but unfortunately my sample costs haven't actually costed me that much money, so that's also within that £1,100. Let me go back to the production cost, because I realized that I didn't do this. So like I mentioned, in my production cost, it is split into CMT, which is cut, make, trim, and material cost. So I didn't write it down here. So my material cost is around about £2,000 to £3,000 for the cost of the material and the trims, and then the rest of that is purely on making the product. So let's go back to what I was talking about. So that 1,100, like I mentioned, is split into shipping and getting the product to the customer and sampling. So the way I have split that, for shipping, I've allocated around £500 to £600. Shipping includes all those things that I've been shipping. So things like the sample that shipped to Italy, that cost me £39. That has to come within that budget, if that makes sense. That I don't mean shipping to the customer, I mean shipping the product here and me shipping samples and all that kind of jazz. So the less I ship out, the better. Part of me does feel like I'm actually going to take a trip to Italy, see the stuff, pack it in a suitcase and come back. It might work out cheaper paper, but we'll see. Packaging is where I actually have the most wiggle room, and I'm going to explain a little bit of that later. But as it stands, my initial budget for packaging is around £250 to £300. And then sampling, I've allocated around £250 to £300 at the moment. And that kind of brings me to that £1,100 mark. So marketing has its own budget. It's not within that £8,000. Marketing is part of my working capital. So working capital, let me actually get the Google definition of what working capital is, because working capital, when I started, I didn't even think about working capital. I didn't think that I would need to have money after I've, bought all the products to then work with. So working capital, super important. If you're budgeting your money, make sure you have an allocation for working capital. So let me just get the definition up for you guys. Hey Siri, what's working capital?
Working capital is a financial metric which represents operating liquidity available to a business, organization, or other entity, including governmental entities.
I don't need you to say anymore. So basically, working capital is money that you're working with. After all your production costs, is the money that's in your bank that you can spend for things that you need to spend on as you're progressing, basically. So within my working capital, that's where I've put my marketing budget. I don't know whether that's where I'm supposed to put it, but like I said, I'm new. I'm not a businessy person. I'm just, learning as I go along. But I've put marketing in there because I may squeeze the marketing budget and make it as small as possible, or if I can, I may increase it. So that's why I put it in there. And also, just in case production costs end up being more, I'm able to dip into that pot, which I don't want to do, but it's there. So I've got around about 2,000. It's probably a bit more in terms of working capital. So my marketing budget, like I mentioned, is within there, and within my marketing budget is things like my photo shoot. So the cost of my photo shoot, I've allocated anywhere because it's such it's something where I have to cost it up as I go along, and also because I'm covering expenses, the models will come and tell me how much it's cost them to get to me. So I've allocated anywhere between £600 to £1,000, which, guys, is scary to me because I've never spent that much money on something that doesn't directly make me money, if that makes sense. Obviously it contributes to the whole brand itself, but you see, with production costs, it's okay, boom, for example, if a t-shirt is going to cost you £10 to produce and you're going to sell it at £40 or something, that the direct cost is £10 and you're going to make £30. But with this marketing spend, it's there's no direct sell that's associated with it, if that makes sense. So that's why it's quite a scary amount of money to spend. But yeah, I've budgeted around £600 to £1,000, which leaves me with around £1,000 to £1,400. A cost that I do know that I cannot change is the cost of my website subscription. Annually, that comes to around 276-ish pounds. I also want to send out PR packages. I'm still deciding exactly how many PR packages I want to send out and what's going to be included in that PR package, but that also comes down to the budget that I've allocated for those PR packages. Again, a scary cost because I could send them out and they're not going to necessarily bring me money, and also I don't even know whether the influencers or celebrities that I send these PR packages to are even going to post it or anything. So that's a really risky amount to spend, and I feel that kind of money should only be spent if you have it. And I'm even still considering whether or not I even want to do it in the first place, but it's something that I want to try. So I have allocated around £300 to £500. If it's 300, then I'll feel less rubbish if it doesn't pay off, but once we start touching into that £500 mark, that's quite a bit. So yeah, but that's how much I've allocated for PR packages and all that kind of jazz. Anything left over, I'm not trying to spend the whole money, let's get that straight. I'm not trying to spend it all because it's scary, but anything left over will be spent on things like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Pinterest ads, if I decide to do Pinterest ads. Going back to production costs, if any of those costs that I outlined in letting that £8,000 run over, like I overspend, the first thing that I'll cut back on is my PR packages. Those are going to be the first thing to go. And also I will consider spending less money on packaging. I won't change the packaging, but I will order less. Once I start getting the sales in, then I can start investing more into getting more packaging in. The only annoying thing is, like, say if, God willing, I sell out, what am I going to do? Because I want to get my orders out to my customers next day or in 2 days, and if I don't have enough packaging, then yeah, but that would be a blessing. So that's where some of my wiggle room is gonna be. And I feel like when you are budgeting for your collection or for your business or anything in general, you do need to make sure you have a bit of wiggle room, because it is very easy to overspend. But don't have too much of a wiggle room, because then it may encourage you to overspend, and you don't want to do that. You need to stay within your strict budget. But ish happens. Like, for example, the fabric that I was going to use for one of my pieces, I've gone back onto the website where I'm going to get it from, and it's actually increased in price. Those are things that are completely out of my control, and I have to go back to my, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it's an Excel document, because it's not. It's actually a page in the back of my diary where I've got all the figures and stuff written down and added up. I have to go back onto there and change some of the prices. And then the fun part, once the sales actually start coming through, that is when I will budget for my pop-up shop. So initially I was gonna add the budget for my pop-up shop within the marketing budget, within the working capital budget. However, the kind of pop-up shop that I want to have, I don't feel like it's gonna be affordable within that £10,000. So I'm gonna wait for sales to start coming through, and it works quite well with my timeline, because I am gonna have an online launch first, and then I'll have like a pop-up shop launch celebration-esque event type thing. The money that I've gained from the online sales from my initial launch will be what funds the pop-up to then continue to make sales. And sales at a pop-up, guys, if you want me to make a video about pop-ups and just how great they are, let me know, I will. But yeah, sales from a pop-up can be amazing. It's a scary prospect because I've never actually done like a pop-up shop that's just me. I've only ever participated in events where I know people are going to be there, but when it's a pop-up shop that is just going to be me, I have to rely on me, my brand, to get people there, and it's really scary. It's a really scary thought. So part of me is like, the longer I wait, the better, because maybe I'll have more for reach. I don't know how I'm going to pattern that when it comes to it, but it is definitely something that I would love to do. And also, again, once the sales come in, I will be reinvesting. I don't intend on taking any salary from Shivra anytime soon, so everything will be reinvested in getting more packaging, funding the pop-up, and getting more stock for my winter drop. So yeah, that is pretty much how I'm going to be budgeting my £10,000 budget for this collection. And guys, I just want to remind you again, you really don't need that much money to start. I probably don't even need that much money to start, but in order for this to take off, I need to take a risk. This is a risk. Business is risk. I do believe in minimizing your risks, but yeah, I'm just gonna go all in, going all in. Shut my eye, well, not shut my eyes, but you know, shut my eyes and just hope for the best. And I'm putting a lot of work into everything that I'm doing behind the scenes anyway, which I am showing you guys, of course. So yeah, I really hope that this video has been helpful. Let me know if you feel like I'm budgeting this wrong as well. I'm open to constructive criticism. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. If you are uncomfortable with the topic, I'm really sorry. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in my very next video. Bye.